Yeah. With a message for my people. Nick Dad, baby. We the new label.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, son.
Now this the black sheep sticking it to him. I need a crib like I'm Gatsby.
I need
Nigga
it.
in hand, just understand my pockets that deep.
deep.
With nothing to prove, I ain't got nothing to do. When they can't compete and I got nothing to lose. You told me I'm the one that's
The
gonna
boys
benefit.
are back. Veterans,
Let's go.
the number one sports betting vibe on the internet. George, happy fucking New Year, baby.
Happy New Year. Happy 2026. It's the first time we're talking to each other virtually in 2026. It's feels different, actually. It does. It feels like the playoffs are less than a week away, which they are, and I'm fired up about it.
I mean, dude, listen. In a weird way, your Saints kind of played a playoff game today,
Big time.
right? Like they were playing
Great
a
backdoor
playoff.
cover.
Yeah, phenomenal backdoor cover. Pause. By the way, we got to know our audience. Make sure you're a subscriber to the You're Welcome Network. Almost at 200,000 subscribers on the channel. Make sure you're following us on all social media outlets at Veterans Minimum. George, over the holidays, over New Year's, I got a lot of awesome feedback about you. For those that didn't check out the Year in Review show, I had two of my really good friends, Finney and Dylan, on there, getting some really good feedback about that. But both of them said, yo, your boy that you do your show with, thank God you agreed to put him on the show full time because they weren't fans of some of the others in the past.
There we go.
Shots fired to start 26.
We love this. We love this. That's the way we got to be, man. We got to shoot our shot this year, and we're not going to regret it. And you haven't regretted it so far. And I appreciate the compliments. I really do. And I want to continue to bring explosive content to the VM space. I did say in the Discord, which if you want to join the Discord, patreon.com/veterans minimum, $1 a month gets you access to that. I sent in Adam Thielen is going to become a Pittsburgh Steelers legend tonight. And was it a legendary performance? Yeah, dude, for an old dude that's about to fucking retire, he made some crucial plays. He gets over 40 receiving yards, and that won me $100. It was 5-1 for him to get over 40 receiving yards. I had him all the way up to 60, so I was hoping for one more big play, and we would have won $550. But it was a free 5-1 there in the Discord, and yeah, we're starting off strong.
I mean, bro, let's get right into that with that game, right? This game just ended. To your point about Adam Thielen, I also want to specify that dude got there like what, 20 minutes ago?
Pretty much.
It's not like he's been there all year with the team. He got waived by Carolina. Then he went back. I believe he went back to Minnesota, right?
Correct.
He went back to Minnesota, then got waived from there, and then ends up on Pittsburgh. They needed all of those yards from him, bro. They needed every single. You should get paid out double for your bet, right? Not only because you're my boy and it would help the Patreon and the Discord and the audience if they tailed it, but like, bro, it's one of those where they needed every single one of those yards to win that game against Baltimore. They win 26-24. Him and Gainwell out the backfield really was the entire passing game offense for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I know Austin, got a woozy on that little stop and go hesitation there for what ended up being the game winning touchdown. But yeah, shout out to you, bro, with the Adam Thielen call. You got to love it. The obscure old wide receiver, #white wide receiver getting it done. Good for you, man.
I appreciate it. And it's kind of crazy the way that they've been able to piecemeal the offense and the way that the Ravens decided to play their defense so laxed. The fact that Gainwell and Warren were catching the ball so easily out of the backfield. Gainwell, crazy, insane game. I think he led the team in receptions and receiving yards, 8 receptions, 64 receiving yards. And it was a dump off fest all night. And that's, I mean, like, how could you blame Rodgers for what he was doing? Because they were getting big time plays off of that, and I was shocked that the Ravens didn't adjust. Them losing Kyle Hamilton killed them. As soon as that play happened, I was very happy, but at the same time, I was also worried too. That moment in time, the Steelers had not proven anything offensively other than passing it to the running back. So I should get paid out double. You are correct about that. How cool is it that they ran the Connor Hayward quarterback sneak getting pushed by his brother? That's an all-time football play that happened. We got it 3 times this game. I think it got stuffed once and then it worked twice. And it's just a cool sight to see.
Dude, totally. And then to your point about Kyle Hamilton, you're right. I think the game really did switch there. Kyle Hamilton was my pick to win Defensive Player of the Year this year from like a long shot standpoint. I think he's the best safety in the league. Not really a hot take, right? Like I think the consensus is that. And you're right, dude. Like he's easily the most important player on their defense. He even saw that moment when he did get banged up. Him and Rodgers kind of embraced with a fist bump. Real recognize, real, as they like to say. But to me, this fourth quarter was everything you wanted, bro. You got 27 combined points in the fourth quarter. Just absolute fireworks. Lamar Jackson did everything in his power to will this team to win. And, we're not going to really remember the Lamar performance because of him losing. And that's, to the winner goes the spoils. To the winner, they get to write history, as they say. But 238 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns. He had 1 interception, which, ball got deflected twice. Stanley, the tackle, one of the best tackles in the game, kind of just throws his arm up as a reaction. And then TJ Watt is like, oh,
thank you
for that. Derrick Henry, he almost went over his rushing total in the first quarter.
First play.
Yeah. And then Pittsburgh really bottled up and stopped them there. I mean, bro, listen, this is what I feel about Pittsburgh, right? They're going to be playing Houston, and what we're going to do on this episode, we're kind of just going to talk about all the playoff matchups now that we know who's playing who and when they're playing.
Correct.
George, if I was to offer you DK Metcalf targets next week, and I say 9.5, what is your response?
After watching the game today, I would say under, just because I know what they have coming to them in that Houston team.
But you think that now, is it you're worried about the matchup, or do you have more confidence in the Calvin Austins? Listen,
no, it's
listen,
the matchups.
I know this might sound crazy, but MVS got 7 targets. Talk about a guy who just got there 15 minutes ago, even though he has the amazing chemistry with Aaron Rodgers all those years in Green Bay. Like, bro, Rodgers, if the game is close, I'd be worried if I'm an opposing team or a bettor holding a ticket against them. Because
Agreed.
if the game is close, I would not want to be holding a ticket against Rodgers, even at the age that he is now. But I think DK Metcalf might get 15 targets when he comes back, just because I still think that he is so valuable to that offense, bro. I know Adam Thielen, like we're giggling about that, but there's a lot of truth to it where they needed all 40 plus yards of that, and then MVS, and like their most effective weapon is Gainwell out the backfield. DK Metcalf is a difference maker for this team, and until that fourth quarter, you were like, that punch by DK Metcalf might cost them. It didn't in these 2 games,
right?
Because they ended up, making the playoffs ultimately without him. But bro, I'm gonna take the over on the 9.5.
Yeah. Well, you said targets. I should have said yes to the targets aspect. I just think that they're going to be very stingy, and they know exactly how to defend it, and they're going to get a level of pressure on Rodgers that it's going to be suffocating. It'll be interesting to see when these lines opened up. Have they opened up fully on? Yes. Okay. So we're seeing our first line here. Whose line is it anyways? Have you looked at it?
No, the only line that I know of, well, it's 2 lines. I saw that the Packers are favored in Chicago, And then I saw that the Rams are 10-point favorites in Carolina. I haven't seen, full transparency, any of the lines. Texans have won like what, 8 straight, 9 straight? 9 straight. They're probably favored in Pittsburgh, and I'm almost ready right now to bet Pittsburgh. Am I correct as an underdog?
You are correct. 2.5 point favorites. The Houston Texans are going into Pittsburgh. They've set the total at 39.5 too, which is very interesting, given the fact that in a game that I took the under tonight, thinking that we're going to see old school AFC North field goal type football, it turns into a shootout. And I think the same thing could happen here. I think Houston's good. I think Rodgers is capable of getting them in the right spots a handful of times to score at least 2 touchdowns. And I think that might get you the over on that. So I kind of like the total early in that 39.5.
Hey, Monday winner early, Pittsburgh.
Calling it to start the show. I love this.
Yo, listen, I was thinking as you were just doing your breakdown briefly, even though we're not really predicting this game, but fuck it, I think we should just get right into it now because we're already discussing this. I like Pittsburgh in this spot. Obviously, everyone's going to be talking about Pittsburgh as an underdog, Mike Tomlin as an underdog. Dude, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago because, full disclosure, a lot of people hit me up about picks, even in the Discord, even in DMs. The only thing I did was anytime touchdown this week. And on the year, we finished with 4 units up. We were as high as 28 units. And boy, did the boy not get cold. He got ice cold. But we did end profitable. So shout out to all of you tailing. The reason why I bring that up, George, is a lot of people were like, dude, what do you like? What do you like? What do you like? I'm like, I am not betting a side. I don't care if one team needs it and the other team doesn't. You saw a miracle cover if you had Houston minus 7.5 with the ending of that game against the Colts.
Yep.
Sure, the Jaguars covered, right? New England covered, but like I didn't know Buffalo was gonna play it out the way that they played it out. You saw Philly lose outright in a game, which we'll debate that in just a little bit. It was a pretty, Chicago lost outright too, right? This was for the 2 seed. So I stayed away from betting on sides. Everyone's going to talk about Pittsburgh as an underdog. This matchup in particular, bro, between Pittsburgh and Baltimore, add another win to the underdog in the Harbaugh-Tomlin matchup against the spread. Now it's probably about 80%. If you blindly just took the dog in the Tomlin-Harbaugh matchup, how fucking crazy is that, bro? Quarterbacks didn't matter, even though we got the 2 starting quarterbacks. But you're talking about the Huntley era, the Flacco and Big Ben era. You're talking about the random like Mason Rudolph coming in, right? Fucking Cooper Rush starting if he started in any of the like, bro, this is an insane fucking trend. So everyone is going to talk about Tomlin at home as an underdog, right? For me, it's going to come down to this. CJ Stroud in his career has made the playoffs every year he's been a starter in the NFL. However, this is going to be the first time he's actually on the road. I think that's very alarming. All of his losses in the playoffs have been on the road. He's going to go outdoors to Pittsburgh at night, renegade, terrible towels, fucking going crazy. DK Metcalf coming back. TJ Watt was getting after it tonight too. I love Pittsburgh this week to get it done, to win outright on Monday Night Football against the Houston Texans. I think this is a bad spot for the Houston Texans. I think, George, they were better off playing the Jaguars.
Wow. You're saying in terms of
Houston. Yeah, listen, in division, you're familiar.
Yeah.
I would have rather, if I was a Texans fan, I would have rather played Jacksonville. Am I crazy?
I think you're a little crazy.
Okay.
I think the Steelers team looks incompetent. Nick, you got to remember, until they scored that touchdown that Adam Thielen set them up for in that third quarter, it had been 7 quarters that this offense had not scored a touchdown. Obviously, DK Metcalf coming back, whatever. I had witnessed that team for a full 2 months, not realize how to use that man. And then once they finally started to use him, you realize that they were just a running team anyways. And that's the thing that's why I like the total in this matchup. I think that 39.5 is just low enough for me that I can see both of these teams squeaking in 20 points each. And I mean, it's going to be ugly. I am already envisioning a lot of, 3 and outs, a lot of short drives, like how we witnessed with the Ravens tonight versus Pittsburgh. And the winner of this game, though, gets the winner of the Patriots and the Chargers. And I think, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I fuck with this path if you are going to make a run.
Well, first of all, that might not be the case, right? Because it depends on the seeding. So remember, the highest potential, if the 2, 3, 4 seeds win, right? Pittsburgh would go to Denver in this hypothetical that you're talking about.
Right.
Now, if you're lower on Denver and you knew this already, then by all means, cool. I want to apologize to our loyal listeners. I want to apologize to George, who, before we started recording, I said, I have a steaming hot take that I just completely breezed over in regards to this Ravens and Steelers game. Did we not just fucking talk about kickers last week?
Oh, my God.
And how they alter legacies? Listen, George, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire myself from my own show if we do not go film me kicking field goals this offseason. And we could just have it stashed. PATs, 50-yarders. We got to have it for moments like this. Boswell misses a PAT. It's his second missed PAT in 4 years. That just sucked, and it was unfortunate. But still, it's a PAT, bro. It's a PAT. You got it off, snap, hold, kick. Everything was good. You just missed that. That guy must have been thinking about every possible emotion, even like darkness retreats or Aaron Rodgers, where he doesn't come out of them type of shit. And then loop. I have a hot take, George.
Hit me with it.
If I am marching with my team, I'm not settling for a field goal. If I'm settling for a field goal, it has to be 4th down, and I have no other choice. I am running my offense, and I'm not letting one of these fucking losers, as a Division III kicker myself, I went 2 for 2 kicking field goals. I'm not letting one of these fucking losers alter my legacy, alter cities and crime rates in towns of cities because I can't hit a 44-yard field goal or I can't hit a 37-yard field goal. Dude, Jake Moody today in the Commanders game missed like a 37-yard field goal. Like, bro, I'm not doing I'm going to waste it down to center the ball for my kicker. No, I'm running my offense. I used to say this shit before. Dude, I used to say this exact same thing. If people have been listening to Veterans Minimum through its entirety, I would say this shit about Aaron Rodgers, who has lost 4 games in his career in which he tied the game in the 4th quarter or sent the game to overtime and he just never got the ball back because they went for a PAT. Like, nah, I'd rather just go for 2. I'd rather do what Seattle did a couple of weeks ago, right? I know they could have settled for a tie, so you kind of had to do that anyway. But regardless, if I'm an offense and I'm marching and there's 50 seconds left and I need a field goal to win, I'm running my normal shit. And then if it gets down to 1 second and I have to kick a field goal, which is what happened with Baltimore also, but they kind of settled for it, right? Lamar wasted it down to center the foot. Nah, bro. I rather Zay Flowers fumble again in a big spot. At least I could say I was being aggressive than one of these fucking idiots missing a field goal. I'm not kicking a field goal anymore, bro. That's my take.
It's a hot take. I mean, we've seen it plenty of times where people will stop down and bounce to get the clock to run out, not score to purposefully end the game on a field goal. And yeah, I had mentioned to you that I think it was almost like an unfortunate way to recognize that the best strategy, instead of icing a kicker before they kick a game-winning field goal, just have your kicker miss an even more important PAT. Because when Boswell went off the field, I'm pretty sure Tyler Loop looked up and was like, oh my God. It's a different feeling. Going to tie the game feels way different than if I hit this, they put me on their shoulders and I'm a hero in Baltimore. It's the pressure is almost fucking triple. So to see Boswell almost ruin the entire Steelers season with one fell swoop, which by the way, the field goals, both of them missed to the right. It didn't look like there was any wind. That was like I've seen these past couple of weeks in this winter storm that the Northeast has been having, where the flags are blowing sideways and these kickers are looping that shit in there. No pun intended with this dude's last name, but he, I agree with you on the sense of you want to try to continue to score because oftentimes what does the defense do? The defense says, they let you go. How many times have you seen defenses let teams score just so they can get the ball back? So It's like you have that option and opportunity there. You kind of put them in a weird position, but I think we've covered this game thoroughly here. This Ravens Steelers matchup, this is probably the final matchup between Harbaugh and Tomlin. And I was listening early pregame, they had mentioned that only two other coaches matchups have ever been with coaches who have like faced each other 40 times or something. So elite company, great rivalry, and we're going to lose out on making a lot of money on the dog.
Yeah, dude, you got to remember these teams played a bunch in the playoffs too. So not only twice a year, there's about a handful of playoff matchups to make it, play out for a third time. Last thing I'll say on this. Can I give you another hot take?
Go.
And I really don't want to spend too much time on like week 18 stuff. I'd rather just look ahead.
Yeah.
Shout out to everyone that hit their incentive touchdown bets, which was nobody. So be very, very careful. That is cooked. It was fun and cute, and you were kind of pulling a fast one on the sports books and in daily fantasy like 5 years ago, George. But today, when I opened up one of the sports betting apps, you know what the first thing I saw was? Incentives parlay. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's done. It's GG's. It was fun while it lasted. It's like when you date a thought and like eventually you got to just cut ties. Yeah, it's over. Hey, listen, it's a good time.
Right.
They'll put it on you.
Right.
But long term, you're not going to win once it's discovered what you're doing.
Very
and that
true.
was the incentives, right? What I'll say, the reason why I bring that up is because I don't want to spend too much time on week 18, but watching the Browns and the Bengals game and then watching this game, if I'm wrong and Houston just blows the doors off Pittsburgh, I don't know how many times it's happened in NFL history. I think the entire division has a new starting quarterback and head coach next year, the entire AFC North.
Wow.
And if I had to set a over under, I'd say 5.5. 4 coaches, 4 quarterbacks. I take the higher. I think there'll be 6 new guys in those positions because I don't think Shador really solved the issue. I think Stefanski's out. I think if Burrow stays, Taylor goes. I think Lamar and Harbaugh might be out. And if Tomlin, won the division, made the playoffs above 500, but he hasn't won a playoff game in about a decade. So if it does end bad in Pittsburgh, and who knows what happens with Rodgers, he'll be 42 next year. So that's my other hot take. And I'm not a hot take guy, bro. I don't come in here spewing. I really believe this shit too.
Yeah, no, you've been on this specific take ever since really, I would say like week 7, week 8, you had mentioned it. And that was before the whole Shador move. And when we thought that Harbaugh was tanking games at the beginning of the year for not playing Tyler Huntley. It was criminal acts there for a couple of weeks. I don't even know what quarterback he decided to go with. I'm forgetting the name now earlier on in the year, but talk about textbook fucking throwing games, especially after seeing what Huntley was able to do once he got in. You're on to something. I do think that Shador stays, by the way. He had a game-winning drive. Beats the Steelers the week before. They're hot. The Browns are hot. Do you think Stefanski, I know this is talking a little too into week 18, but I promise this one is kind of funny. Do you think Stefanski thinks he's keeping his job with the way the team finished the year?
Raheem Morris got fired and they ended on a winning streak.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy, man.
I mean, like, bro, like, dude, talk about what a difference a year makes. Remember a year ago, I was talking about like how this might be the most coveted. This would be the job I would want. Like with, I have a first round pick. I have a first time starter in Penix. Obviously, Penix it turned out to be bad, but like I got Pitts, I got London, I got Bijan Robinson in the backfield. I play indoors. The division isn't exactly that crazy,
right?
And then now look, right? Who the fuck is playing quarterback for Atlanta next year? I don't have a first round pick. Do I bring back Kyle Pitts? What about the GM that I called out a couple of months ago? Was I not right about that? Trading up a first round pick to get a defensive end who, Pierce and Walker, they were okay. They were fine. But like, I'm not giving up anything unless I'm coming up to take a quarterback. And now I look at the Saints and I'm like, they got a quarterback now. Bryce Young just won the division. Baker's still there. Atlanta's not a desirable job now, and they fired their coach. So the reason why I bring that up is because Stefanski shouldn't feel confident whatsoever. I think Taylor by the end of this week is fired, if not earlier. Zach Taylor, that is.
Yeah.
Like it got to be like, yo, bro, we got to change something. We got to change something. We've given you like 5 outs. In the Joe Burrow era, we've given you a legit 3 years where you're like, oh, I lost my quarterback. Well, eventually, you gotta go, bro.
Yeah, bro. And I by the way, and look at the way that you just described it, the Joe Burrow era. Ain't nobody relating this moment in time in the Bengals' history to Zach Taylor. He was nothing but a fucking placeholder coach, and we all know it. And my question about Stefanski was kind of just, it was jokes because he was cracking smiles at the end of the game and acting like, oh my God, I'm so proud of you guys. We finished strong. And it's like, bro, you're done. I haven't seen that energy in the last 2 months. And all of a sudden you realize you're on your way out. The books to the trips to Cabos are booked and, you're ready to fucking party. Whatever. How do you want to attack this playoff bracket, man? I think we started in the AFC. Do you want to continue in the AFC?
Yeah, let's continue in the AFC. We talked a little bit about Pittsburgh and Houston. The other matchups, let's just do the other matchups in the AFC. We got Buffalo going into Jacksonville. Jacksonville is a 1.5 point underdog. We got the Chargers going to New England, with New England being a 3.5 point favorite. Which of the two would you like to start with?
Let's start with the Chargers and the Patriots.
Okay. I think there's going to be one game this weekend that looks like the Dolphins-Pats game, and I think it's going to be this.
Yeah.
I think New England just violates.
Just yeah. This is going to be a whole nother level of like we've established that we are not afraid of anybody, and our quarterback all season long has been consistent. Watching the Chargers today was very difficult, and I know people might compliment them for what they were able to do, holding the Broncos to as many field goals as they were able to hold them and not letting them get in the end zone or whatever. That is the Broncos, by the way. That's just who they are. Like the fact that the Chargers did not cover in that spot, backups or not, worries me. And I know that they're a rough and tough ball club and not everything looks high powered and it's not a very flashy offense. Harbaugh tries to hype up what Justin Herbert's able to do a lot more than what he's actually doing. And I think that that's making him feel a little bit more confident, but 3.5, I love this. I love this a lot. This is almost an alternate spread alert on this game right here, because even with all the fucking distractions, we haven't even talked about Stephon Diggs and his distractions off the field and what's going on with all that. They were still able to dial in for the past 2 weeks and crush teams.
I just want to ask the lovely women in the world, and in particular the 22 percenters that listen to this show. I want to know if Stephon Diggs and Cardi B are still goals. Because she sat courtside with a Birkin bag, which I also just discovered how much a Birkin bag costs, George.
5 Gs?
No. Put like a 2 or a 3 in front of it, and then you're in the ballpark.
Whoa.
Yeah, you're talking about like an engagement ring, down payment on a house kind of thing.
Nice.
But I say all that because like Stephon Diggs, hell of a receiver, kind of should be in the running for comeback player of the year. Really balled out, coming off of ACL. I take a loss on that because I thought it was a terrible contract that they overpaid for, but he did change the culture. Really took a lot of the young receivers under his wing to show them the ropes. Look, the talent on the field, he is a hell of a player. Was a consensus top 10 wide receiver for about a decade. Now, off the field, he has 4 baby moms with 4 different women, one of them being Cardi B. Shout out to the Bronx. Shout out to New York City. But I was just curious, George, if you think that's still goals. Because
yeah.
you know,
I mean,
nowadays you see a lavish lifestyle and you say it's goals, even though you're not really getting the princess treatment. I mean, financially you might, but
well,
who am I to judge?
Did you not see them doing the yoga with all the moms in the New England area around Thanksgiving? I thought that was cute. I thought there was, and that's his baby, right? I'm not wrong.
Yeah. That's his kid. Yeah. One of the 4 that he just had within the last 6 months.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And and all the allegations that I've heard, and I don't know if it's we'll see the way that unfolds. I don't necessarily know all the details. I just know that kind of crazy that he isn't suspended for any games.
Yeah, allegations with me personally, bro, are kind of tricky. I don't like to really go off of them. I feel like I need a conviction because like anyone can make an allegation about anything.
That is true.
They could just be like, "Hey, George said this slur to me," and you're like, what? And now George is a racist or he's homophobic or whatever it might be, right? So like, I don't really go off allegations. It's kind of just not my thing.
It's still just there.
Yeah. It's still just there. Now, look. With that being said, if there's 27 allegations like Deshaun Watson, there it's like, hey man,
we got a pretty strong conviction.
yeah, I don't really need to see much else. So that's just me personally on that. Now, back to this, right? New England. I just think the Chargers, Justin Herbert in the playoffs has been a really bad experience. He's been a favorite in both of the games that he's played, and he's gotten embarrassed. Last year, threw more interceptions in that wild card game against the Texans than he did the entire season. And then the last time he was in the playoffs was when they blew that 28-point lead to the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2022. So until proven otherwise, I don't see the Chargers being a team that could be able to go into New England and win that game. I think it's a double-digit win for New England. And I think New England, the way they are playing, especially offensively, which today I absolutely loved for MVP reasons, they could beat you in so many different ways. And Drake Maye didn't even need to throw or run, really. The ground game accounted for a lot of touchdowns. Stevenson had 3 total touchdowns, and then Henderson had 1 on the ground. So they can attack you in so many different ways. And I think it's, believe it or not, I know Harbaugh is a great coach. I think this is a coaching mismatch as well between Vrabel at home against Justin Herbert and Harbaugh on the road. Only because it's on the road. Now, this game is in LA. I feel way different. But, it's a Cali team coming to New England. It's going to be cold. I believe, hold on, let me check. This is Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, it is the night game.
It's a night game. I'm gonna go with Drake Maye in this one in New England to win by double digits.
I will paint the picture for you, and this is the only way that the Chargers win this ball game. if you feel confident in the Chargers, they will have to win the first half. And so I would look at taking maybe a double result in that if you do like the Chargers, because if they start fast, I don't think that this Patriots team is necessarily ready for that adversity. Early on, you know all the pressure's on you. Drake Maye still, as good as you can be in the regular season, if you don't get it done in the playoffs, nobody gives a fuck. That's just the way the NFL is. That's the way you're going to be remembered. And if Drake Maye is not able to capitalize and the first two quarters get a comfortable lead like he's done all season, and he has to play catch up to a team that not necessarily the most familiar with. This isn't the Bills, in which he's gotten a chance to get a chance to play against the Sean McDermott defense. If you like the Chargers, take the double result. You're going to get a better payout on this than even them money line. And yeah, that's their only way of winning it.
Yeah, and listen, bro, I think you got to factor in something else. If you have faith in the Chargers, you do have one thing that's going for you. This game, the Bears game, the Rams game. You have a first-time starter in the playoffs going up against someone that has played in the playoffs. And it's a very telling line. Listen, last year we saw it. Bo Nix lost in the playoffs last year as a first-time starter to Buffalo. We had on the flip side, we had it work differently. We had Jaden Daniels win, right?
Yep.
So, but then you also had Sam Darnold in the playoffs for the first time in his career, and he lost to the veteran. So last year in this scenario, it was 1-2. This year, you got Caleb, you got Drake Maye, and you have, who the fuck did I just mention out? Bryce Young. All first-time starters in the playoffs, going up against guys that have played in the playoffs. And some of them in big, big spots, some of them Super Bowl champions. So something to consider. Now, I have the stats in front of me. Quarterbacks starting their first playoff game in the NFL have gone 11-23 straight up since 2003. And they are 26-47 against the spread.
Jesus.
So history, if you just blindly take Herbert in this spot, Stafford in this spot, Jordan Love in this spot, you should be profitable. Now, I'm not saying that because I'm picking the Patriots, but just something to keep in mind. This is different kind of ball. So
Agreed.
I just wanted to paint that picture for you.
Yeah, no, I think that we both rest in the same spot for this specific game. I think the defensive intensity alone and the way that the Patriots rallied to the football, and that's you could tell that's a Vrabel coach defense. There's not a single play in which you don't see 4 to 5 people around the ball carrier at all times. You don't see that from all the teams. Go ahead.
And I forgot one thing. I misread that. Quarterbacks starting their first playoff game in the NFL have gone 11-23 straight up, 13-21 against the spread since 2014. 26-47 is against the spread since 2003.
Got it.
So I realized that the numbers didn't add up. I gave you
sure.
a sample size of 31 games and then a total of 56. So I just wanted to just repeat that again. So just to, be an actually technically guy over there.
Right. No. Actually, technically, you did really good on that one. So if everything plays out the way that we think it is, do you want to see who would go into the AFC Championship from here, or do you want to just go matchup by matchup and we'll adjust later on? Because Pittsburgh, New England, or Houston, New England.
Well, look, so it's going to come down to the other game in the AFC.
You're right. The seeding.
It's going to come. So look, do we
Let's
both
go? Yeah.
How about this? Do we both think that New England's going to win this game?
Yes.
Okay. Who do you think wins between Jacksonville and Buffalo? Buffalo is a 1.5 point favorite against the Jacksonville Jaguars. If I remember correctly, I don't think the Bills and the Jaguars played each other this year.
You are correct on that. Yeah, I don't think they did either.
They did not play each other. They played each other last year. And Buffalo beat the shit out of them 47-10 in September, which means Trevor Lawrence must have played in that game too. Yes, he did. Okay, so yeah, they played last year. Buffalo beat the shit out of them. Way different teams entirely. So lead us off with that. What do you like in this game? What are you thinking?
What I like in this game is the fact that Josh Allen's on the field. I know it's a pretty weak take, but I think that he strikes fear into any team that he plays against. And I think the Jaguars defense, it's going to be interesting. Like we've been talking a lot about like how Trevor Lawrence has found it out. The run game for the Jaguars has been prolific, but this Jaguars defense has been really, really, really fucking good. And then, by the way, I had thought about him maybe a week and a half ago, and I was like, geez, with how good the Jaguars are now, imagine if they still had Travis Hunter on the field. Like did we not get a chance to see that maturity all the way through? Was him going both ways a detriment to the team? Because it seemed like after they left that the Jaguars really picked it up and kicked it into a whole nother gear. I don't know if that was because of what I'm saying with the defensive side being as strong as they've have been all year. I would like their linebacking core. Ola Duncan or whatever the heck his name is, their middle linebacker is a beast. And I'm excited for the matchup defensively in this one. The total in this game is set at 51.5. I like the under in this one too. I really do think that we start to see the defensive genius from Sean McDermott. It's got to kick in eventually, right?
I hope so. As someone who got Buffalo colors on right now, shout out to this Diplomat's hat. But also, as I'm still holding out hope, man. My preseason Super Bowl pick is still alive. And it's better odds now than it was then. In the beginning of the year, it was 40-1, Rams, Bills. Right now, you could get it at 18-1. So I'm still holding out hope. It played out the way I thought it would, in the sense where when we were discussing Buffalo still being the favorite despite not winning the division to come out the AFC at the time when we were doing this like a month ago, well, it's because we said they were probably going to be a favorite in any building that they went into. And you see it right away with Jacksonville. In regards to Travis Hunter, the last time we saw him, he had his breakout game, 8 catches for over 100 yards in London against the Rams. But the Jaguars have only lost one other time since then. Now, I'm not saying that him getting hurt is why this happened. No, what I am saying, though, is with the emergence of Parker Washington and Brian Thomas Jr., well, you know, coin flip how you feel about him. But Jacoby Myers coming in.
Yep.
I think you could tell Travis Hunter, hey, bro, we need some defensive back help. Just focus on defense. And then I think you could see Travis Hunter next year become an all-pro caliber DB. I really do think that, because he could just focus. Hey, man, if we want to do a gadget play with you once a week, cool. But no more 30 snaps for you on offense. You're just going to be a DB. And maybe you could return some kicks for us and punts. Sure, let's do it. That's what I think ultimately helps Travis Hunter and this Jaguars team. Here's the thing. For me, it comes down to 2 players. Josh Allen, James Cook. You two got to account for every single touchdown. It either got to be James Cook on the ground or Josh Allen throwing it or running it in. They need to put the cape on collectively. Look, James Cook gets the big contract that he wanted, and he was leading the league in rushing today. I don't know how it played out. I don't have the stats here in front of me, but he's a top 5 guy rushing. He had a career year. If you're the Bills, you're like, all right, we paid the dude. He held out, but he had a career year. Money well spent. I think for me, Buffalo is really going to need to attack the Jacksonville Jaguars through the air with the tight ends. I think this needs to be a big Knox and a big Kincaid game for the Bills to have a chance. You could move the ball against the Jaguars over the middle of the field with the tight ends. Now, I got to be honest with you, bro. I've been looking at Jaguars plus 700 to win the AFC this entire day. And you know, if I didn't have these Bills tickets, I'd probably be leaning towards Jacksonville. I think they figured it out offensively, and there is a path where this one could get ugly in favor of Jacksonville. I'm going to take Jacksonville with the points.
Wow. Yeah, I think if you break down both sides of the ball and everything came down to special teams too, I think you got to give the special teams edge to the Jaguars.
Oh, bro, what? Yeah, we were talking about kickers before. Cam Little walks out for 60-yarders, and I'm watching it like it's a 42-yard attempt for another kicker.
Free throws.
Yo, this dude's he hit a 67-yarder today, bro.
Yeah.
No,
and so that means a lot going into this playoff race that we're about to witness, and we witnessed it tonight with the Steelers game, and I think that this game, to me, I think it's an ugly one. Like, I really do think that both teams struggle to get it in, and the total is telling me otherwise. It's the biggest total on the board. They think this is going to be a shootout like no other. I think that everything buttons up a little bit. You're going to get great weather, so we're not going to have to worry about that. I think that if we're in Buffalo, they might adjust it 5 points. If we're getting some cold, rainy, snowy weather, who knows? But I like the Bills in this spot. I do. They're going to find a way to at least have an attempt with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and that's all I give a fuck about.
Well, you know, the way Trevor Lawrence has been playing in his last 7 games, he has 19 touchdowns, 1 interception. I'd make the case that he's probably playing the best quarterback right now heading into the playoffs of any QB, man. And that's why the moment Jacoby Myers got there, like 3 weeks later, they're like, here's a contract extension. Because it just opened up everything. And not for nothing, Parker Washington has become he helped me win. He outscored Puka and JSN in fantasy playoff championship for me. He's become a bona fide number 1 wide receiver. And they still got Brian Thomas Jr., who you got to respect. They still got Strange at tight end. They got Etienne in the backfield, who, you were a year off on him being a breakout guy in the backfield. And we know about his ties with Clemson and Trevor Lawrence as well. But I think Trevor Lawrence right now, I know it's going to sound crazy, but if we were power ranking the best QBs in the playoffs right now, heading into the playoffs, he might be 1 or 2, bro. Like, I'm talking about how they're playing right now heading into the playoffs. I'm not talking about accolades.
Right.
I'm not talking about anything else. Who's the hottest quarterback right now going into the playoffs? It's Trevor Lawrence. And I think, they gave him the grills. They're like, yo, bro, it's been a meme, but the team, we got you these grills. And he put them on after he's yelling Duval and all that shit. Like, the team fuck with him, bro. And right now, he's just playing at an MVP level. And I think they know who they are. And they've gotten that from Liam Cohen. It's a bad matchup, I think, for Buffalo. This offense is really clicking, and you can move the ball on the Bills.
It's interesting, man. We're going to end up with 4 home dogs in the first round of the playoffs. That's maybe the most that I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, let's go into the NFC. Let's go with the first game on the menu. I'm going to have a close eye on this one. The LA Rams are 10.5-point favorites on the road against Carolina. This is a rematch from a game that I couldn't have predicted any better. when it happened about a month ago. I said take the 11. I said take the Panthers money line. Stafford was on like a 27 touchdown, no interception ratio. Rams were hot. And I said, bias aside, you got to take the Panthers here. And it played out like that. Now, I think this time it's very different. There is no look ahead spot. There's a revenge narrative for the LA Rams. I believe they're going to get Devontae Adams back. I believe they're going to get the 2 offensive linemen back that didn't play the last couple of weeks. Puka Nacua right now is the best offensive player in the NFL playoffs that's not a quarterback. And I think they're going to go in there, and I remember that game vividly. The Panthers scored 2 touchdowns on 4th downs.
Yeah.
And even then, like Stafford had a tip ball interception, then he had an interception in the red zone. Stafford is a very, very streaky quarterback. I'm hoping today was the start of a new streak. He lit up the Cardinals. He currently is minus 175 on FanDuel to win the MVP. How the odds have flip-flopped. How the odds have flip-flopped now, you know? And listen, bro, it's going to be a very polarizing decision either way. I think the best player in the league this whole year has been Matthew Stafford. All right. He shit the bed against the Falcons on Monday Night Football, and the world saw it. Okay. But people were saying he lost his last 2 primetime games. We're going to put that loss against the Seahawks on him when he ballooned up to minus 2,000 in the 4th quarter to win MVP? Nah, bro. I'm not doing all that. All right. He scored a touchdown in overtime, and then Seattle went. And like, no. I'm not holding that loss against them. Falcons, yeah, sure. So what does he do today in week 18? He lights up the Cardinals. Drake Maye doesn't light up Miami, though they blow them out. He lights up the Jets last week, and everyone was crowning him. But today, no conversation about Stafford for MVP. But the odds are showing us otherwise. Yeah. Now, the numbers are better for Drake Maye if you factor in the rushing yards, but total touchdowns, Stafford surpasses him. He has more passing yards than him too, but it's going to be the case. One is a 2 seed, one is a 5 seed. We'll see how that plays out. But I say all that because Stafford, if he could get hot, I still look, them and the Seattle Seahawks have the best odds to win the Super Bowl out the NFC. And I think that's correct. And I think they get their revenge. And I think the Rams win comfortably this time against Carolina.
Yeah. You already know that Bryce Young is going to have I'm going to predict this now. They're not going to get past the 50-yard line until the 2nd quarter. I think it's one of those defensive, we're going to put the fucking vice grips on you. And the defensive line for the Rams has really kicked it up a notch across the board. They have been like today against the Cardinals, and I know it's Jacoby Brissett, but still, they were finding a way to get to him quickly. And I think we're going to see a hell of a lot more than what we saw the first time that they played. Mind you, the Carolina Panthers, when they beat the Packers, we mentioned it was a perfect game. They beat the Rams. It was a perfect game. They go 7 for 15 on 3rd down, 3 for 3 on 4th down, and they control the clock. They won the time of possession 35 minutes to 24 minutes. It's not going to happen this go around. The thing that worries me about the Rams, if they're going to fuck this up for anybody that's taking them with the points, I do think it's a lot of points. For a playoff game in which the home team who's getting to play at home again is an underdog of 10 points. Like, it is just astronomical. The way that they get this cover is if the Rams start to sputter a little bit. You see this with their offense where all they need to do is string together a handful of first downs, and before you know it, they're being forced into a 3rd and 8, a 3rd and 9, and they're having to punt the ball away. This is the issue with the Rams at points in time where they want to push the ball down the field vertically consistently. But you got to get Kyron Williams going, and you got to be comfortable not scoring rapidly. I think they're very effective at scoring rapidly, but when you're a high-powered offense like that, a handful of drops will absolutely derail it, and the Panthers are going to sit on the ball if you give them the chance.
No, I mean, I agree with you, bro. I agree with you. And look, the Carolina Panthers haven't won by more than a field goal since October. They haven't won by more than a touchdown since September. They haven't won as favorites since the first week of 2021. This is really one of the worst teams to ever make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Carolina is bottom 10 point differential at minus 69. That's the worst for any team to make the playoffs. Yeah. That's the worst of any team to make the playoffs ever. Ever. And then on the flip side, I think because every metric says the Rams are one of the best teams of all time. Like, bro, legit. And I know I'm a homer for the Rams because of the tickets that we have. They're battle tested. They've played 13 of 17 games this season against teams that won at least 8 games. Stafford has the best EPA per play among quarterbacks against playoff teams. If you flip the one-score results in the league, they still have the best. All their losses are by 3 points or less. So you know it's going to come down to the wire. Their offense is better than any offense in the league. They lead the league in both rushing and passing DVOA. And they have one of the best DVOA offenses in NFL history. I think because they spiraled as a team collectively the last couple of weeks and they lost the 1 seed, people just think that, oh, it's over. No, I don't think so, bro. They're getting Adams back. They're getting 2 starters on the offensive line back. And Xavier Smith has been a revelation. He stepped in for Tutu Atwell. Mumfield has stepped in on some key third downs against the Seahawks. And Coleman Williams. And they just got Higbee back today, who scored a touchdown, right? So, like, bro, I'm telling you, George, I feel really good about this Rams, the Rams outlook. And I think it starts this week. Now, to your point, Stafford did throw a pick 6 in the first game that they played, and then he had a red zone turnover inside the 10. So, yeah, turnovers. If you tell me a quarterback's going to have 2 or more turnovers, I'm probably going to take the other side. And to your point, last thing I'll say, it might get to 11 when more people start talking about this. 11 will be a lot, but which Bryce Young is going to show up?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you. And I do see a path. I like all these teams that we're choosing. I definitely am able to see the path for the other side. This one at home, it'll be interesting to see if weather plays a factor in this. The only weather that, really worries me, I've seen from this past couple of weeks, the heavy rain. That'll fuck up an entire offense, especially an offense that likes to move the ball down the field like the Rams do. It'll be interesting. I don't know if there's an early weather report out for that one, but just keep an eye on it. If it's muddy, that one's going to be close. But that's our first game of the Saturday slate for the NFC. The second game is the third time that we're seeing the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears.
Also on Saturday night again.
Yes.
Be careful, Chicago. Be very careful. I think Chicago is on their high horse, and they should be, even though they lost this game to Detroit. It was rather meaningless. But you know what? Let me ask you this, bro. Because I know, George, we discussed this via text, and it was a conversation that I got from, I believe it was David in the Discord, about kind of weird that Philly just tanked this game with a chance to be the 2 seed. If you're the 2 seed, you guarantee yourself at least 2 home games. And then you roll the dice if you have to go to Seattle, which, are we sure Seattle's going to be there? We don't know. You might potentially host 3 playoff games. Who knows? I know we're talking about the Bears and Packers game because the Eagles sat their starters, and they only lost by one possession to Washington. But what's your overall take on teams kind of like punting on their seeding with a chance to better it?
Yeah. You
Like,
can
how do you
only
feel about
do
that?
this, Nick. You can only do this if you have just won the Super Bowl, which they've done. If you have not won the Super Bowl, you can't tell me that that's the right move. And I think that they know. I also think they appreciated the matchup better. This Eagles team struggles to move the ball. I mean, all season we've seen it. I think the beat up San Francisco defense, even if is Fred Warner confirmed coming back, or will he be available for this next game? They said that he might be available in the playoffs. I wasn't sure if it was going to be the wild card round or if they advance. It's probably later on. Regardless, I think that the 49ers defense is a little more susceptible. And I would have maybe seen that as the reason as to why they would have sat their starters. But hear me out. If your offenses look like shit all year, wouldn't you want a tune-up game? Kick the absolute living shit out of the Commanders. Beat them by 30 points. Have everybody on the offense score a touchdown. We should be high vibes heading into the playoffs. Sirianni, I think every time I see him on the sideline, the amount of stress that I'm able to see on a human being's face, I feel for him, bro. Like, it's not an easy job. Nobody said it's an easy job. But to know that you're sucking at your job and you literally just won the Super Bowl, it's got to be just the most agonizing stress. And you know that you mean nothing and you're replaceable. And this entire Eagles team is just funny to me. However, if Jalen Hurts does it again, Nick, he would go down as the greatest playoff NFL quarterback of all time. Like, you would have to like specify it. You'd have to add these tags beforehand. The greatest NFL playoff, not regular season. Because if he does it again with this team, I would be stunned. We all would be stunned.
Hey, bro, listen, you said it right there. And I'm going to tell you this. I've been staring at plus 900 for the Philadelphia Eagles to win the Super Bowl. I have been staring at 18-1 Eagles Broncos to be the Super Bowl. Because for as much as I think they're frauds, for as much as I do not like this Denver Broncos team whatsoever, I even think their defense is severely overrated. You look at some of the teams that they've played and have moved the ball on them, no business doing that. They're going to be hard to beat in Denver. They're going to be very, very hard to beat in Denver. You're going to need a 13-second Josh Allen performance to beat them in there. Like, it's going to be a motherfucker. So I've been looking at Philly, Denver, 18-1 to win the Super Bowl, because we discussed this in like week 10. And then we said it recently too. Like, there's a way where Philly could just be like, y'all must have forgot. You know why Saquon looked like shit? Because we're unleashing him now. Yeah. Saquon, you're getting 30 touches. AJ, put the book down. Devontae, let's go. Guess what? We're getting Lane Johnson back. He fucking helps. Huge. Massive. Our defense balling now at the right time. And yeah, we're battle tested. We're gonna be fine. And yeah. I can easily see that. We said it last year when we did the rosters, and we're like, yo, where's their flaw? And we both settled on Jake Elliott because he was kind of having a rough thing. And then he was kind of going through it last year, right? And then you turn to me and you go, hey, bro, are we really going to say the kicker is the biggest liability when everything else is A+? They're probably going to win the Super Bowl at plus 600. And they did, right? So there is a part of me that thinks that the 49ers have had a magical season. I think it ends this week in Philly. I think this is another
Fuck.
one where I
It
think
ended
it
this.
gets.
Yeah, it ended already this weekend. They
Yeah.
wore the black uniforms to their own funeral.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, I know we started with the Bears and Packers game. I didn't forget about that. But it, because Chicago got the 2 seed, it tied into Philly. And I know we kind of bounce all over the place. We're going to go back to Chicago and Green Bay in just a second. But, bro, I can't lie to you, man. I feel like Philly is right where they want everyone to think they are. They
Yeah.
are right in the perfect spot. Like, hey, bro, make sure y'all didn't forget.
Yeah.
All right. Make sure y'all didn't forget because we haven't. We've been cruising and now it's time to turn up. And that's what I think happens. I think they handle business against Philly, against San Francisco, excuse me.
Yeah, I feel the same exact way. I just based on the talent portion of it, and I mean, I think that they match up so much better to stop the run than what they would have faced with Green Bay. I think that San Francisco run game can grow a bit predictable. It's kind of crazy the way that you saw running backs. I keep referring to the Steelers game tonight and the way that he was just dumping it off to Gainwell all night. I mean, the shit that they have to do to get McCaffrey the ball, it's effective, but it's also you follow Kyle Juszczyk, you kind of know where the ball's going. And by the way, it doesn't matter what the fuck Kyle Juszczyk does when Jordan Davis is in the backfield causing havoc. It's just the play's broken up. And I think that, you got to look at who has the best defensive line. I think the best 2 defensive lines, I'll throw Houston in there too, but you look at the Rams, you look at the Eagles, and you look at Houston, and you're like, this is it right here. These are the studs. I'll throw Denver's defensive line in there too, as like the 4 premier shutdown teams. It'll be an interesting matchup. I do not see a path for San Fran in this game. I just know that the talent on the other side and playing a road playoff game at the link. Whew. I mean, they didn't value it themselves. Obviously, the Eagles didn't today. They chose health over seeding, but they knew they were going to get at least one, and they're going to make the most of it. That's for damn sure.
I mean, bro, listen, for someone that is a big wrestling fan and fantasy booking, I kind of need San Francisco to win this game because I think the Niners win. And then if the Bears can somehow win, even though I don't think they are, it could, like San Francisco going into Seattle. I like that in division, common opponent. They know each other. And then, maybe it's a LA, San Francisco NFC title game. That game's in Los Angeles, right? Whereas, like, I don't think the Chargers win that game against New England. Then they go into Denver. Like, there's no way there's going to be a Buffalo game in the playoffs. If there is, I'd be fucking doing
Insane.
Yeah, I'd be going crazy.
Come on, bro.
But I don't think it happens. So I'm settling on Philly winning this game rather comfortably. And yo, let's also do this. If this offensive trend continues where they struggle, and let's not forget they struggled against Buffalo in that second half too.
Yep.
Like they jumped out to a lead, and then I think they're the only team that has had less than 30 yards of offense 3 times this year and a half. And if that happens again in Philly, like, bro, I know when you win a Super Bowl, you should have a grace period of a couple years. They might come down on Sirianni and be like, yo, you out of here, bro.
Yeah.
Like, there's always a shock firing. And, like, if it's like a 21-10 Niners win and Jalen Hurts is like 18 of 36 for 180 yards and 2 picks, you could see the Boo Birds coming hard and, like, breaking news, Philly has let go of Super Bowl champion Sirianni. You're like, yo, what? Yeah. There's always a firing like that is what I'm saying. So I don't think it happens, but in the event that the offense continues to struggle.
Yeah, good to track. It's good to track.
Yeah.
Yards per game, they're 24th in the NFL with 311. Yikes. Still, it seems like a lot of yards, 311, but still, that's to fall that in the bottom half of the league, bottom third of the league. Terrible for how much talent's on that team. But the other matchup, we've hinted at it. We're going to come back to it. We're coming back to it. The Packers going in to Chicago, and a game that we've seen twice so far this year and have been exciting ends both times. And I think the magic still lies in the hands of the Bears. And I think we've seen the offensive injuries stack up, obviously, for the Packers here. And God forbid anything happens to Jordan Love in this game. I think you got to be, if you're the Bears early on in the game, you have to find a way to get some hits on him and to rattle him. And that's going to be your path to success if you are the Bears and you want to try to win this game without it coming down to the final 2 minutes.
I was watching Sunday Night Football with my friend Dimitri, who you know as well, one of my friends who's a fighter. He's from Chicago. He's a Bears fan. And he was like, you know, my biggest issue with the Bears is that they put themselves, like, it's great that they've had the most comebacks in the league, but then things like today happen where eventually it doesn't go your way, right? And I wonder if a really young roster against a team who now has made the playoffs as a 7 seed 3 times under LaFleur with Jordan Love, I wonder if this is something where the Packers could jump out to an early lead, maybe force a turnover on Caleb. You know, I'm looking at maybe Packers defense to score a touchdown. Could be interesting. They don't have the odds up for it, but I feel like it kind of correlates well, where maybe it could get ugly for a young Bears team against a pretty experienced Packers roster. Obviously, they've lost Micah Parsons, and that's brutal because this is where you really want him and why you gave him $40 million. But, man, I think this is a bad matchup for the Chicago Bears to get the Green Bay Packers. Again, a team that they're familiar with. Both of them know one another, and let's not forget how much shit was being talked when Chicago got that game winner in overtime, which was the biggest bet that I've made this football season.
Yep.
And it hit, got really lucky. Hey, they had to come back in that game too, and they lost Jordan Love in that. You know what I mean? Like, Malik Willis probably earned himself a $30 million contract this offseason by someone. So this is, for me, George, this was the toughest game to try to pick a winner.
Yeah, man. I think the line says it best.
Yeah, that's
plus 1.5. I mean, total on this one ending up at 46.5. Everything's going to be a flip of a coin for this. This is a game, though, that I do find that you can make money off of props. And the props that I would look at is in third matchups, it's going to be the obscure guys that make the plays. So you can find, you know, an interesting prop possibly on a couple of the receivers on both ends, like a Zacchaeus maybe, and try to make your money off of the people, the role players making a big time play, because there's going to be a lot of, if we go based just on who's the leaders, I mean, Colston Loveland for this Bears team for these past couple of weeks has been insane. He's going to be drawing a lot of safety help and coverage, and that's going to open up the secondary to expose them to some big plays. Does Burden pop out again? That one dude that Caleb Williams let stay at his house, the undrafted rookie, what was Walker, number 20? Right? Is it right or Walker? I think it's Walker. I think it's Walker, bro. I think it's Walker. Isn't it? Yes, Ja'Day Walker with a total of 4 receptions on the year, 2 tutties. They haven't updated ESPN. They're doing my boy dirty right now. 2 tuds. He's come on out of nowhere. He's like, I mean, obviously the touchdown he scored today was just a prime example of like, bro, you've been able to do this all game. Like you've been running the ball efficiently. You've been running play actions. But I think Caleb Williams has it in his head sometimes where he's a great player. I'm not trying to knock Caleb Williams because he clearly has the it factor late in the game. But it's like, bro, start taking some shots early. We can't just be the finding the guy in the middle of the field, trying to move the sticks as much as possible. I think a little early on, Caleb, you got to find that magic that, you know, a lot of what your offense is generated off of is those explosive plays when you try to extend the defense. I'll say it again. Colston Loveland is the leading receiver for this team. Nuts.
Hey, bro, how about this? If you're the Bears and you're Colston Loveland, can we have a conversation about Tyler Warren versus Colston Loveland? Because remember around November, it was these fucking idiots. They passed on. They could have had Warren. And now, key third downs, big plays. He's balling, man.
Mm-hmm.
Even Brady said on like a third down, he's like, he's going to Loveland here. That's his main guy. You're like, dude, he's a rookie. 6 weeks ago, we thought he was the giant bust of the first round. So shouts to him, man, him coming along. And yeah, listen, I really think this is gonna be. I'm the most excited about this game from a storyline standpoint and the unknown, because there is not a surprising outcome. Like, I think the Bears could blow them out. I think Chicago could get blown out. I think it could be a classic Bears game that we've seen this year, trailing by double digits in the fourth, coming back and winning. Like,
Yeah.
There's not a possible outcome that would surprise me. Like, if the Chargers blew out the Pats, I'd be like, what the fuck happened? Did Drake May get hurt? What is going on, right? Like, this one of all the playoff games, I really think it's the one that, you know, I'll even go a step further. I think if San Francisco blows out Philly, I'd be shocked at that too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, Green Bay, Chicago, there's so many possible outcomes, man. My gut is telling me Green Bay, though.
Yeah, just based off the experience. And remember, there was two teams that we said we're going to make a lot of money on, and they're in orange and blue. Betting against them, it's the Broncos and the Bears were the other one. And the Bears, lucky team. 23 interceptions this year, by the way. A lot of these come from behind victories that we've been able to witness has been off the backs of the other team handing the ball to you on a silver platter, the tips all going your way. If that continues, and this is just the season of luck, maybe Ben Johnson did a deal with the devil and he's just that fucking good. He's that guy that's able to get the job done in obscure ways at the end of ball games. I think that maybe one of the plays to make here is a live bet in the third quarter on whoever's losing money line. Because it's just like a dangerous spot. It's like having a 2-1 lead or a 3-1 lead in hockey. Most dangerous spot to be up. Be up in the third quarter in the Packers-Bears game, you're probably going to lose. That's the spot I'm going to look at.
Okay. I like it. Look, we'll be back later this week, and we'll do all our picks. Georgia and I will have our updated records. We kind of treated it like a fantasy league, right? We didn't count week 18 towards the picks. Remember, +4 units on anytime touchdown. Hopefully we get one in the playoffs. George, this is what we're going to do for anytime touchdown for you to think of it. We're going to put a couple condoms on. We're doing 3-leggers. We're doing 1 you, 1 me, 1 agree.
Okay.
All right, let's do that. Let's try to get one on the board, help the algorithm.
Yes.
And then we're going to do our regular Ursalitas and Trust Me's and all that. Remember, you guys can get the merch at the merch store. We sold a good amount of units. I was very happy with really no lead up or promotion. We kind of just wore them. And I've always felt like that's the best way to advertise and sell merch. George, I want to end the show with this. And I didn't prepare you for this. Hell, I didn't even prepare for this.
Let's go. Let's shoot.
I'm going to list the favorite of each award. And I just want you to give me a yay or nay if you think that should be the person that should win the season-long awards.
Okay.
All right?
This will be fun.
Coach of the Year, Mike Vrabel.
Nay.
I kind of feel the same way. Who would you pick? No explanations. We're just going to give answers. We could follow up later.
Mike McDonald?
I would say Mike McDonald as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Second favorite plus 300. Okay. Offensive player of the year. Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Nay.
I agree as well. Yes.
I think JSN's thrown up a dud for the past month and a half, and I think Puka has been just unstoppable. Even the plays that weren't counted as catches down the stretch. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Never seen it. I've never seen that from a receiver. I'm trying to remember back to like prime Megatron days where you just know the ball's going to end up in his hand. He's not going to drop it. He's going to make a big play. But they use him in so many ways that I just think he's the ultimate. I think McVay's biggest regret, if Puka doesn't win the title this year, is that he didn't draw up a couple of plays for Puka to throw a couple of touchdowns. That's the only regrets that McVay should have, because he used him just the way that we think that all these great players should be used. The Christian McCaffreys, the Bijan Robinsons of the world, they do it with Puka. And he has been the best player in the league. Offensively, in my opinion.
I mean, bro, listen, he missed a game and he left the game early when he got his ankle rolled up on. So he probably gives JSN a run for his money. In regards to Puka, I think JSN is Offensive Player of the Year. But in regards to Puka, you said something very interesting that I couldn't agree with you more, because as I was watching him today and as I've been watching him, he can beat you, I think, the most ways of any wide receiver that I could remember watching. Over the middle. We used to call it a standstill, right? Like that quick little, hitch out. Not even like a bubble
option.
screen. Yeah,
Yep.
like a screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like we used to call it a standstill. So he could beat you over the middle, quick screen out, end around, contested catches, can outrun you despite running a 4.6 at the combine. Could beat you deep downfield. Like he could just beat you in so many different ways. And right now, he's only 3 years into his career, most yards per game in NFL history. He's an unbelievable wide receiver, but I do think it goes to JSN. Okay, comeback player of the year, Christian McCaffrey.
I mean, yeah, sure, dude. I mean, he could have been Offensive Player of the Year. It's going to be impossible to deny. Who's second in the list, by the way?
Trevor Lawrence. Now, here's the thing. We need to odds makers, rule makers, comeback player of the year. Can we establish what it means? Does it mean you sucked ass last year and then you got good? Or does it mean you had a season-ending injury that you came back from? Because I think it's because like Trevor Lawrence last year sucked ass. This year played well. McCaffrey last year hurt, comes back, right? So like we just need to establish what the rule is.
Agreed.
Okay. This one's a no-brainer. Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year.
He was what? He wasn't minus money. He was plus 200 at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, he was like plus 300 around there.
I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, there's absolutely no way to have predicted that. Like zero chance. I was thinking, what if my big take at the beginning of the year, Myles Garrett, who stays with the Browns, is going to break the fucking sack record.
Yeah.
Who would have thunk? Shouts out to him, by the way. Minus 320 I saw it this morning for him to record one sack.
Crazy, because that came with 5 minutes left in the game.
Oh, I wanted to find that he doesn't record a sack. They didn't have that available.
Well, bro, I'll say this. I know there's been a big back and forth between him and Michael Strahan. Strahan said he did it in 16 games. Garrett did it in 17 games. I would say, despite an extra game, I think this is more impressive because how many fucking times did he rush the passer where the Browns were winning? Not many times. So he really had to earn all fucking 23 sacks
Or
that he had.
Nick, how about this? How about everybody in the world blowing his cover? Like, if I was going for a record, I'd be like, can you please shut the fuck up already? Every quarterback is taking they're taking intentional grounding penalties to ensure that I don't get this.
Yeah.
Had Joe Burrow come out and said that, we're going to do everything in our power to make sure he doesn't get the sack record. I mean, how infuriating would that have been? He didn't, but Aaron Rodgers the week before for sure did.
Yeah. And Pittsburgh was like, not on our watch.
No.
It kind of reminded me, super throwback, growing up watching Barry Bonds go for the home run record, and teams would just intentionally walk him.
Yep.
It kind of reminded me like that. All right, two more. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Carson Schlesinger from the Browns.
Okay, he was solid.
He was solid linebacker.
I'm trying to think of anybody else that I would. At the beginning of the year, I'd said Malachi Starks. He made a couple of plays tonight, but I don't think
he's not even in the discussion. But Imanori.
Oh, whoa! Imanori for the Seahawks?
Yeah, he's not. It's James Pierce Jr.
Wait, I thought Imanori was year 2.
No, he's a rookie. Yeah, because I remember I bet him at 8-1, and then Schlesinger just came out of nowhere.
I find that very hard to believe with how much of an impact he makes on that defense and with all the games that they've played.
And can confirm Imanori is a rookie, 21 years old, was selected in the second round this past year by the Seahawks.
Wow.
Interesting, right?
Cannot believe that it's going to Schlesinger over him.
Yeah, it's just weird because, like, I know what sucks is, like, defensive and offensive rookies of the year, it's really, like, stat-driven more than anything. It's not really dependent on like wins and losses, but he also didn't play in that last game. So I don't know. James Pierce is the other guy that's there. Okay. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Massive favorite, McMillan.
I will say this about McMillan's future career. McMillan will eventually break Mike Evans' 1,000-yard record. Calling it now. That he's going to be just Mr. Reliable for whatever team he goes on for the rest of his career. However, how do we not give it to either Shuck or Dart on this? I really struggled to understand that.
Bro, I never saw it, but now that you said the Mike Evans, like, bro, he's Mike Evans. Like,
yeah.
Same kind of build. Yeah. Same kind of build. Can't really run away from you, but can make big catches, contested catches. Both 6'4", 6'5". Yeah. He's a big favorite. Then it's Dart. Then it's Shuck. Okay. And then last but not least, Matthew Stafford MVP.
Lock it in. I said this in a text to you earlier today. He's going to win solely based on aura. And I know that's like a really shit metric to base it off of. But had Drake Maye been a little more vocal of a quarterback and had that presence of, this is my fucking team, I think he wins the award over Matthew Stafford. I found it very interesting today, and this was just I saw it on the 4 box. It was the Patriots versus Jets game, and you know how they have that camera that follows out the quarterback usually, right, on the field for the first drive of the game. It's that 8K camera that is fucking unreal. All right, they didn't follow Drake Maye today. That's all you need to know. And I know that there was the allegations. They didn't follow Drake Maye today. Because even with everything that has been said about, the allegations, they still follow Stephon Diggs' word on that team. He is the heart and soul, and that is going to cost Drake Maye an MVP award. And he won't realize it till after he's won his 4th Super Bowl that, hey, maybe I should have been a little more vocal that year versus Stafford. I think I would have won an MVP. Add it to the trophy collection. But just with that alone, He hasn't made as many highlight plays. Like Stafford gets him in the highlight category. Stafford's made more no-look touchdown passes this year than any cool highlights that I remember from Drake Maye.
Yeah. So listen, there's a couple of things, and we'll end on this, right? I wonder if the voters, which by the way, I was talking to a friend of mine who works in the NFL. He doesn't have a vote, but he works in the NFL, and he was telling me that you have to have your vote in by like midnight Pacific time tonight for all these awards.
Wow.
So like it has nothing to do with playoffs. So the votes are going to be in. Now, the other thing, it's voted on by reporters, beat writers, pundits, right? Man, I wonder how much of it is like Stafford is just such a good dude. I know this sounds corny, but think of it. It's narrative based, right? Dude's been in the league since 08, 09, whenever it was. Man, he was on the Lions getting the shit kicked out of him. It's not like, we're giving him a participation. No, like he's in the discussion, right? And his team is a contender. They've been a contender all year. He went on that crazy run. All right. They lost 2 of the last 3 games that he played. But that game in Seattle, he lit up the best defense in the league, arguably. Got them the game-winning touchdown in overtime. It's just Seattle had time. And, like, Drake is 22, 23. He got time. Like, he'll get one eventually, kind of. I'm just saying, like, that wouldn't be a shocking discussion for people to have. Like, yo, this is a coronation for a hell of a career for a guy who, until recently, was kind of like, oh, yeah, he's up in Detroit. No one really cares. Dude has 46 total touchdowns, which, by the way, he didn't score any on the ground. So he threw 46 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Like, bro, the only other time a quarterback has thrown more than 40 touchdowns and single-digit interceptions, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, and they both won the MVP those years.
Jeez.
So, like, what we doing, man? I'm hoping, but I really believe it's Stafford.
If you want to do a little hedge on our Super Bowl bet, this is an exacta here that I have pulled up on FanDuel. Patriots to beat the Rams 40-1 in the Super Bowl. Now, the reason why I say this is because these get announced the week before the Super Bowl. And if you get Stafford to hit, it would be just, I think it would suck for Stafford's career long term, because it's like you definitely want Super Bowls over MVPs at this point in time of the career. Either one for him works, but maybe it's just like, this is Drake Maye's, hey, nobody really, like, you guys put me in the conversation. I did in 1 year turn around one of the greatest NFL football franchises of all time, and I went in and I beat your MVP. So there was 2 plays that I was looking at to end the show here, just as a just legacy type of NFL storybooking. If you believe this shit's rigged, that's one play. If you believe it's rigged, and then the other one is Steelers Packers playoff in the Super Bowl, and that right there, Steelers to beat the Packers, is at 400-1.
You know what my response to that is? We've made dumber bets.
I'm just saying, bro, if you think this shit's scripted, why wouldn't they want Aaron Rodgers to play his former team in the final game that he ever plays? Wow. That's a crazy line. 400-1. 400-1, and all they need is 3 wins each.
Wow.
Interesting.
That is fucking crazy.
Yeah. I know that there's another like storyline that I could try to piece together here, but I think those are the two big ones.
Do you know what would be a banger storyline?
Hit me with it. If this shit was scripted, what would it be?
I mean, well, I don't know if it would be scripted, but remember how many times we've had an Aaron Rodgers versus Matthew Stafford conversation? Second ring on the line. Like, bro, what would, and again, can you look that up while I give you this breakdown? What's Rams Steelers to beat a Super Bowl? Because if you want to talk about legacy, we've had these conversations in the summertime of like, yo, they both have one ring. Who would a second ring mean more to? Like, you talk about, like, bro, 2 rings is a whole different table you're sitting at. Like, it's a lot of guys have 1 ring, even though that's very hard to do.
Correct.
But, like, yo, 2 rings is crazy. And what that conversation would be around Matthew Stafford if he gets a second ring and you're like, yo, bro, what if he had McVay in this offense from the beginning? Like, dude, you put Matthew Stafford on the Lions today, the Today Lions, they're three-peating. Like, bro, this team is fucking crazy. Do you have Rams, Packers, Super Bowl? What are they? Sorry, Rams, Steelers?
Rams, Steelers, yes, I do. The Rams, Steelers, Super Bowl is 55-1.
Oh, wow. That's not as crazy as I thought it would be.
Yeah, well, I had given you, by the way, that first one was an exacta.
Okay.
That was the exact result. This what did I hit you with? The Steelers to beat the Packers.
Yeah.
In the playoffs. So if who would you take in that matchup, by the way, if you had a choice? I think this one's an obvious one. Even though both teams would be on big winning streaks, could not believe the run that the Steelers are on, given the fact that they should have been eliminated had Tyler Loop not fucked it up for the Ravens. Who would you take?
Who would I take? I'd probably take Pittsburgh.
Wow. Okay. All right. The Pittsburgh Steelers to defeat the Rams, 175-1. I like the 400-1. Yeah. 400-1 Packers, Steelers, and an ugly fucking game. That would be a nasty Super Bowl. Lots of good exactas here. I will sprinkle a couple on some of these storyline ones because, I mean, why not?
Bro, 400-1. To fucking throw $20 on that. We'll go halves on it. That's $4K payout each. That's like $8,000.
Let's go.
We've made some. You know what we should do on the next show? We should just do. We should come up with 5 futures that pay 100-1 or more. That were like, these are really fucking stupid, but
and we paint the picture.
We paint the picture, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Like you did now. Right. Like, yo, talk about like storyline, if the script.
Yep.
Oh, and yo, how about this? It's in Super Bowl's in California. He wins a Super Bowl in his home state, in the Niners building where they should have drafted him. Oof.
Oh, did Stafford he went to high school in Texas, I think.
Yeah, but I'm talking about Rodgers.
Yeah.
Like if Rodgers, like, you know, just craziness, But listen, this was a very, very lengthy pause episode. If you guys haven't, please follow us on all social media outlets at Veterans Minimum. Please subscribe to the show wherever you're listening to. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel here on the You're Welcome Network. Please join the Patreon for $1 American. That's all we're asking for. And last but not least, make sure you guys get these futures in so you could have a fun time with the boys. You know what I'm saying?
Now. Come on.
Review, leave a like. To myself and George, we thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace.
I'm a gold medalist, bronze like your medal is. So many deer in headlights, but it's bedtime. Hear that supper bell, main course, be the venison. Dab. Most dangerous game. Either kill or be killed.